Greetings, race fans, and welcome back to your U.S. Army Racing Vodcast. I'm your host, Sergeant Kim Williams. Coming up a bit later, we'll bring you more good news for the Sarge, Tony Schumacher. But topping our news this week, the Allstate 400 at the Brickyard, where the U.S. Army 01 Chevy driven by Mark Martin had another great run in his return to action. Sergeant First Class Scott Malone reports from Indianapolis.
The 14th running of the Allstate 400 at the Brickyard attracted over 250,000 fans and unfortunately brought out 8 caution flags in the first 80 laps. The U.S. Army 01 Chevy, driven by Mark Martin, started 13th, and despite some transmission problems early, Martin managed to work his way up to 5th before a pit lane speeding penalty brought him back in the pack.
Well, you know, we had maybe a transmission problem and just, you know, the situation the whole team's been in. You know, it just shows you how strong this team is.
In the second half of the race, the orange 20 car driven by Tony Stewart took command, while Martin gradually worked his way back into the top 10 before a late gamble saw the 01 Chevy pit on a caution when none of the other leaders came in.
If we could have got a caution with about 10 to go, it might have been a whole different story where we could have closed the gap up. You know, we were outrunning them, but we were 7 seconds behind. If we could get a caution where we could have bunched them all together, it would have been a different story. We might have had a shot at them. So, you know, that's what you gamble for. We couldn't beat them that way, so we had to try something else to beat them.
The move didn't get Martin into the winner's circle, but it did help the U.S. Army team finish 6th, while Indiana boy Tony Stewart went on to take the checkered flag for the second time in the past 3 years. Covering the Allstate 400 at the Brickyard, Army Sergeant Scott Malone, Indianapolis.
When you think of NASCAR, you think of fast cars moving around the track, racing for the checkered flag. But after spending some time down in the trenches, I found out there's a lot more involved.
Fans are on pins and needles waiting for the race to begin, a race where they watch one man in each car battle it out lap after lap. But for the U.S. Army NASCAR team, the brick line start is not where the race actually begins. It all starts right here in the garage. A company of more than 24 men must work as one cohesive unit to make it a winning race for the entire team.
You know, to perform a 12-second pit stop, everybody's got to do their job perfectly.
The ability to change 4 tires and push 19 gallons of fuel into the car in 12 seconds or less is no easy task. But above all, the car must pass numerous inspections before the tires even touch the track.
We had it inspected when you first get here. They go through everything and then practice, and then they'll check it before qualifying, and then we'll do the same thing tomorrow.
Although each person on the pit crew has a specific job to accomplish, one individual can't accomplish the task of winning the race without every working part, just like the Army.
We're inspired to work on the race car for the soldiers and represent all the soldiers out there.
The top dog of the 01 Chevy U.S. Army car believes his pit crew is always more than ready for any race.
Our pit crew is fantastic. Army strong, fast. The guys have been reliable. We come in the pits, we can always guarantee that we're going to pass some cars on pit road.
Besides another top finish, the other big news coming out of Indy was the merger between DEI and Ginn Racing. Army Sergeant Scott Malone is back with details of this move and what it will mean for the future of the 01 Chevy.
The U.S. Army 01 Chevy, driven by Mark Martin, has a new co-owner. Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, or DEI, and Ginn Racing have joined forces in a multi-million-dollar deal.
We're very, very excited about the merger with Ginn Racing, and we're very excited to have the Army in our camp as a part of our family. Mark Martin is a tremendous addition to our family, as well as the entire 01 team.
DEI has long been one of the giants on the NASCAR circuit and gives the Army team access to more technology and engineering expertise.
The only change that I see for Army Racing is that we get stronger and we're more competitive, and that we win and we bring more people into the Army family.
We will certainly come through this and be stronger after we get a chance to, mesh it all together. We'll be able to team up and put the strengths from all the teams together as one.
Another important change is the arrival of Eric Almirola, formerly of Gibbs Racing. The 23-year-old Almirola is one of the hottest young drivers on the Busch circuit and gives the U.S. Army team a lot to look forward to in the future.
to be able to represent all the soldiers out there and to be able to drive this Army car is just such a privilege for me. You know, I never thought in a million years I'd ever be in a situation like this, and I'm really, really excited.
In addition to continuing his Busch Series schedule with Gibbs Racing, Almirola is slated to drive in 6 Nextel Cup events over the remaining 3 months of this NASCAR season. Army Sergeant Scott Malone at the Brickyard.
Coming this weekend at Pocono, Mark Martin will look to find the winner's circle for the first time on a track he's come in second 6 times in his distinguished career. Pocono is one of only 5 tracks on the NASCAR circuit where Martin hasn't won. Meanwhile, one of Martin's biggest fans got to live out a dream come true at the Brickyard.
The U.S. Army Racing Team, along with NASCAR driver Mark Martin, has a huge fan following, both military and civilian. Indiana recruiter Staff Sergeant Jeremy Sutton enjoys the racing so much, he was inspired to re-enlist at NASCAR's All-State Brickyard 400 this past weekend.
It's a chance to meet Mark Martin. Besides that, I'm a big NASCAR fan. This is my perfect opportunity, to give back to the NASCAR nation, to let them see a soldier re-enlisting indefinitely.
Not only did Sutton have the pleasure of re-enlisting before the final day of racing, but he got the chance to meet his favorite driver before they took to the track.
I just like the way that he's well respected. He'll let someone pass him by, but he expects the same thing in return.
The Army Accessions Command played a big part in making Sutton's dreams come true on a day when he again took an oath to continue to serve his country.
I'm actually honored to be able to participate and bring another soldier who wants to continue to commit to a career in the United States Army. And it's a great opportunity for Accessions Command to get out and introduce the Army to a large number of folks. These NASCAR venues, there's just wonderful Americans who come to these and watch the race.
Mark Martin was also quite pleased to have the chance to meet with Sutton and his family, sign a few autographs, and take some pictures before he took his place at the start.
Well, I think it's fantastic, and I hope that we can win the Brickyard and kiss the bricks. It'll be a big thrill for him, and it's a real honor to be driving for the U.S. Army, and I hope that we make everyone proud today.
In other Army racing news, the full NHRA circuit enjoyed their annual trip to the wine country at Sonoma, California's Fram Autolite NHRA Nationals. Tony the Sarge Schumacher continued his second-half surge by winning for the 2nd straight weekend. The victory moves Tony up to 2nd in the latest Top Fuel standings. Meanwhile, heartbreak for Angèle Sampey. After qualifying first with the fastest time on Saturday, Angèle lost control of her U.S. Army Suzuki and crossed the center line, thus DQing and going out in the first round of eliminations. Antron Brown also got knocked off after qualifying in 10th position. The NHRA circuit now enjoys a weekend off before returning to action in Brainerd, Minnesota, August 12th. And that wraps up another edition of your U.S. Army Racing Vodcast. I'm Sergeant Kim Williams saying so long and enjoy the racing.